why this is a topic you're so passionate about.
Well, I was brain injured when I was 23 years old in 2003, and I was training for triathlon on the west coast of Canada, and I suffered a severe brain injury while cycling, and I was in a coma for 2 weeks, and I had to rehab for 2 years, and then go back to school and finish my master's and all that stuff, and still work, but eventually when I eventually came back home, I started a website about brain injury, concussion, and sport, because I loved watching American football and hockey, and I didn't play it, but I liked watching it. And so I started writing a blog about it, and then I started a podcast about it in 2015. I started doing a podcast about that, interviewing doctors, researchers, physiotherapists, and athletes about their experiences with concussion or brain injury. And so that's what really got me. I wanted to let people know about what it means, not just medically, but personally as well. So,
I mean, you yourself, someone who was participating in sport and suffered from a severe traumatic brain injury. I mean, it can't be any huge surprise to you that someone like Ryan Mason, going through what he went through, has made the decision that he's going to hang up his boots and focus on his health and his life beyond football.
Not at all. I watched the interviews, a lot of the interviews today that I saw, and obviously I saw the incident that caused his injury. But watching him talk, he seems like he knows why he made the decision, and it seems like he's comfortable with it. But that's not to say he's not going to go through times when he's going to feel just like, oh, I wish I was playing football, or I wish I could get out there and be with teammates and stuff like that. But he seems to have his head on the right way. But I hope he doesn't go through these issues. But I know I did. I know it's not easy just to stop doing what you know him for. He did for 26 years of his life. He knew nothing about football really, and now he's got a whole new thing, new choices. He had a new decision to make, and I know it's tough for me, and I'm sure a lot of times he was wishing, like I said, he's out there and playing football again, but he's just got to know that there's no right or wrong decision that he made. It's just a choice of life, and you make any choice of life, any choice like to get up 5 minutes earlier can have the same impact as having a massive head injury. Like, you don't know, some things happen in life, and that's decisions are what matters. And he's made a good one for himself, for his family. So
it's kind of amazing to me, Nick, that myself and Ollie's on the show tonight as well. We actually host our NFL coverage here on TalkSPORT in the UK. So it's a topic that we've covered and know a lot about, because CTE, brain injury, concussion is such a huge talking point in American sport. Yeah. But it does feel a little bit with football when it comes to things like the repeated head injuries that you can sustain from heading the ball and the clash of heads that you can have as well. It's ignored as a potential serious injury, but we are seeing more and more that it's something that can affect players well beyond when they've stopped playing sport.
Yeah. I know, like the NFL, for example. Now they hit a lot harder. The helmets on and stuff, so it's different issue kind of. But I know there's some concussive hits that are just it's always not concussive. Obviously, they don't knock you out. They don't cause concussions per se, but they're enough. They hit you enough of them hard enough that they will affect you even after you retire, as you said, or if you stop playing or later in life. A whole bunch of them will add up, and they can cause severe problems later in life. So it's something to just be aware of for any athlete.
For those, for those sports where it is a real problem, and I mentioned CTE, which is this kind of progressive degenerative disease of the brain, which has been found in people with that history of repetitive brain trauma, compared with, when a lot of these players, if you look at the American sports side of it, compared with when a lot of these players who are now suffering were playing 15, 20, 25 years ago, how much more do we know about these injuries now, and how much can be done to prevent them in kind of what in theory are non-contact sports?
Well, speaking as a non-researcher in this, but I mean, we know more than we did 25 years ago. But I mean, there's still all sorts of new. Not necessarily know more about it, but we know more about what caused it and what degrees of hit or bad, and what other hits can cause these. Cause the CTE is not just hits. It is hits, but it may not be just hits. Maybe hits and other predisposed condition you have, or it could be not necessarily. I don't know what genetic, but it could be just. There's lots of issues that go into it, and so actually asking questions, we may know more, but that's just more compared to one standard. But we're asking a lot more questions of what causes these hits and the hits, of what causes trauma. Them more of them, but so we're asking more questions than we're getting answers to, and I think that's important, right? To ask these questions, like, so we don't focus on fixing one thing if it's not really the cause of it. So if you're focused on just it's just hits that cause this CTE, then we'll focus on just hits. But where to say it's hits and this, then we'll look at that as well, and that will actually help us actually diagnose and fix the problem then, as opposed to just treating one symptom of it.
And I think you're absolutely right. I think, Nick, you've hit the kind of nail there, because it is a case of in the NFL we see it with the linemen, the big guys on the line who aren't necessarily having massive hits. They're not these big tackles where they're hitting each other at full speed, but it's all those little small kind of hits, play after play after play, 60, 70 times a game, which are really adding up for these guys longer term. Nick, in all the research you've done since you suffered your injury and made this decision to start your website, Concussion Talk, and start your podcast, what's kind of stunned you or surprised you the most when talking to doctors, talking to experts on these subjects?
Well, it's not so much they don't know, it's just they appreciate what they know, understand, obviously more than most people do, about what exactly I'm going through or what causes brain injury. But if the amount they're willing to say they don't know, that is more, so it's, I don't know, surprising, but just it's actually heartening a bit, because they know that they don't know, and it's nice to hear them say that, okay, well, you have a brain injury and this is your problems and these are issues you expect, but they'll ask me questions about why how I'm feeling, and they're interested. It seems to me, not every doctor, of course, but that they're interested to know what exactly why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, and what issues I have, like my speech, obviously, and my gait, my walking, my dexterity is not bad. It's very effective at it, and it's nice to know that it's surprising to know that or not very surprising, because it's not for long, but that my issues are frankly pretty good. Like, I mean, I have trouble walking and trouble talking sometimes, but people have like major personality shifts and major mental problems that I don't necessarily have, and that's all. I've really got off easy. I mean, considering what it could be, because I have a good family and friends and support me and stuff, so that's easy enough for me. But people that have these issues with these CTE or concussions or brain injury can have really more devastating effects on them.
Nick, I think it's really fascinating. I really appreciate your time. And just the last kind of question from me, because this is related more to football here in the UK, to soccer. It was a big story yesterday about the amount of money that the Pro Football Association, that the Players Association, the equivalent of like the NFLPA here, was spending on research into concussion and into dementia in particularly, is the one that's been highlighted. I know that we've talked about CTE and concussion. Are there clear links from your research between dementia and those other brain diseases in later life and repetitive brain trauma?
Well, I'm not sure about the direct links, but definitely dementia and Alzheimer's and CD are definitely seeing the tau protein and the degenerative process of it seems to be very similar. It seems like, but I'm not a scientist. I shouldn't really say that it's definitely a link. But there's the studies have been done that are, but the similar researchers have done similar studies of CT and dementia and brain injury and Alzheimer's, and so it's all very much I think related, but there's a lot more stuff to learn and things to really know. But
that's why it's important that it's being highlighted.
Yeah.
Nick, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Nick Mercer.
Thank you so much.
No worries. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. ConcussionTalk.com if you want to find more about the work that Nick's doing. You can get in touch with him there and at Concussion.